Good morning, Nancy and Sakal and everyone. Well, the most important news at this moment is pound collapsing almost over 8% because of the concerns whether Britain will be remaining in the European Union or exit. At this moment, the economy across the globe is geared up and the fingers crossed. Apart from this, let's have a look at what exactly is making into the top lines now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch smart city projects on 25th June, that is tomorrow. The launch kickstarts execution of smart city plans of 20 cities selected in the first round. PM also to inaugurate Make Your City Smart contest aimed at involving citizens' smart city mission. In a major step to curb rising air pollution, launched a pilot program to run two-wheelers on CNG in New Delhi. These CNG-fitted two-wheelers can drive up to 120 kilometers in a single fill and are expected to be substantially economical in nature. Commerce Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says incentives announced for textiles will help create jobs. She says the extra push given to the textiles industry through an incentive package will help boost the exports in the coming days. CBDT directs the Income Tax Department to step up publicity of the ongoing one-time black money compliance window by advertising it at markets and clubs and showrooms, and also ensure full privacy to those making disclosures for better collections. Reserve Bank of India unveils payment and settlement systems in India Vision 2018, aimed at building best-of-class payment and settlement systems for a less cash India. RBI will also examine the technical, operational and business feasibility of using Aadhaar as a factor of authentication for payment transactions. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said the Indian economy's growth in an unsupportive global environment shows its strength. He was addressing the Invest in India Business Forum in Beijing. Finance Minister, who is on a 5-day visit to China, will also attend meeting of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank.
Last 2 years have consistently seen India well past the 7% growth rate. 7.6% last year and 7.2% the year before last. Our macroeconomic indicators seem to be fairly stable. When compared to the rest of the world, we seem to be doing better. We are regarded as the fastest growing amongst the major economies in the world. But at the same time, realizing our own potential, I always believe that we have a potential in a more friendly environment to do better.
Well, we have our correspondent Arun Sharma joining us on phone line to speak about Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's visit to China. Arun, now we've seen what Arun Jaitley was saying in the Invest in India summit. Our macroeconomic fundamentals are really strong. Amidst the weak global economy, we are doing really well and our economy is proving its strength. But let's touch a significant aspect. We are asking the Chinese investors to invest in India, rather the global investors as well. But amidst this Chinese economy going down, how feasible is this option? Do you think these Chinese investors would be looking towards India when the Chinese economy is actually going down at that place?
See, Venkat, the idea behind this visit of Finance Minister Arun Jaitley can be divided into two parts. First, to attract the investors in India, and second, to focus on infrastructure building in India. And that's what Finance Minister would be participating in the AIIB meet tomorrow.
True.
But yes, at the time when the yuan is devaluating, the Chinese economy is facing tough times. The Indian economy, as Finance Minister Arun Jaitley also said in the Invest in India Business Forum, that amidst the tough time, India has performed well on the global arena and it has achieved more than 7.5% of growth. So that's a good sign for the Indian economy. Chinese investors, of course, are looking for new areas, new regions for investment. And the basic and the more important part is the startups in China. Because we saw an era from 2010 to 2014, many startups were being opened in China also. Now, at the time of the slowdown, the maximum heat is being faced by the startups in China. So these startups are also are looking for some kind of region where they can invest, they can find new avenues for their investment. Let me tell you, there is a trade between India and China which is $70 billion in 2015. But if you look at the trade balance goes in favor of China. That means we are importing more from China. What we want at this point of time, that China should invest in India, it should come in India, and it should invest in India. And that's what Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is pitching in China at the moment. And as I said earlier, Venkat, that this visit is divided into two parts: to attract investment from China, to ask the investors to come in India and to invest in India and to make in India as well. So that's what Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is pitching about, and that's what he is there to convince the investors that Indian economy is poised well, and also that amidst the global slowdown, if Indian economy is performing well, giving a growth rate of more than 7.5%, the only problem with India is the infrastructure problem, and that would be a finance minister in the first meet of AIIB would be raising the point that more funding should be given to the Asia, to the Indian region in order to infrastructure development and buildings such as roads, railways, and highways. That can boost the infrastructure, giving in rise to ease of doing business, and also giving ease to the Chinese investors as well.
Right, absolutely. Thank you very much, Arun, for giving you those updates as well. Well, it's pretty much clear that we are expecting investments from the infrastructure point of view. In fact, this point could be raised by the finance minister during his AIIB meeting as well. Well, moving on to the global markets, as we were talking about the Britain's exit, or Britain, will it remain in the European Union? This question is looming large over the markets across the world. To begin with the US markets, in fact, the stocks have closed higher yesterday, with all three indexes rallying as investors wagered that the UK will choose to remain in the European Union, apparently yesterday, in a historic referendum which we are talking about. So that actually triggered that sort of optimism. US markets have gone high. But then moving to the European markets, with voting underway in the UK's referendum, it's in its future, the European markets had a roller coaster day. Actually, we can see that FTSE 100 and German DAX apparently has done well yesterday, but then we'll have to see, because at this moment people are slightly inclined towards Britain's exit. There is 51.7% there in the inclined towards Britain's exit. We'll have to see what role it plays. Asian markets have opened with a volatile trading because of this. The early results from this British referendum, as I was mentioning on European Union membership, filtered through. Markets, in fact, appear to be very nervy at this moment in the Asian markets. Moving on to the Indian markets, similar to the global markets, Britain's stay optimism has driven Indian markets yesterday. Banking and auto stocks actually have driven the markets higher. As a result, we could see BSE Sensex crossing that 27,000 psychological mark, and Nifty closed around 8,270. But will this continue is the major question, because the result of this Britain referendum regarding the European Union stay or exit will dictate the markets today. Well, that's all in the finance world. Back to Nancy and Sakal.